I'm watching the movie. I'm like, please don't go in this direction. Please don't do it. And then he did. So tell me, what did you guys think about the ending of this film?
I don't want to get into should have gone with the book or this. No, I'm just talking about the ending scene where they get back in the car and it's just quiet and steady cam. And then she turns on the music and Boogie Shoes is on. They were singing that earlier in the movie. It was a happy time. It was a flashback to a happy, great time. And now it's the worst time of their lives. And she turns on, there's that music playing, and it's just quiet. Then she turns it off because it's like, that might be inappropriate. And then it's quiet longer. And then the dad turns it back on. He's like, nope, let's. And still at that point in the movie, you're like, what's the twist going to be? What's going to happen? Something's about to happen. And then it just cuts off. And I kind of dig that nothingness. It's like, whoa. Oh, that's the end. Okay, cool. Yeah. It leaves you kind of wanting more, but at the same time, it's like, all right, that was good. I'm satisfied. That's cool. So all the way up to the end, you're expecting that twist. You're expecting something to happen. It's like, explain what just happened. And no, what happened. There's no explanation needed. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that because it was a good, 30, 45-second scene of just, which M. Night is great at. That's one of my favorite scenes was in the movie Signs. After they spent the night in the basement, they have another steady shot going up the stairs from the basement to the first floor, and Joaquin goes upstairs and he slowly walks up. No music, nothing, just camera, stairs. Joaquin walks up, looks around the corner, a really long scene. He walks away. You don't hear anything for a little bit. He walks back. All right, everything's good. It's that tenseness of nothing happening. And it's like, well, when nothing happens, something's got to happen, right? And that's kind of his twist is like, and no, it was cool. Because again, you're still right on the edge of your seat all the way until it, boom, doesn't even fade to black. It just cuts to black. And it's like, credits. Mm-hmm. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. At the end, there are no end credits scene in this movie. But at the very end of the credits, when the last credit is rolling up, you hear 4 boom, 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 like a knock on the door. And it was Leonard's knocking on the door again at the very end of the credits.
Well, they did say that this has happened before.
Yeah. So it's like
they weren't the first ones called, so.
Yeah.
So you're saying there might be a sequel.
Knock at the cabin again.
I hope not. No. There is no reason to have a sequel to this.
This is going to be a whole franchise.
Well, I mean...
It takes place in the same universe with Unbreakable and all that.
I mean, I don't even know how that would work.
It wouldn't.
Put it in the same universe as Lady in the Water and The Happening.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg's next.
Which, I'm not mad at The Happening, but I think it was too weird. And
it was bad. You can say it.
As much as I like Marky Mark, that was not his best role. It was not his best acting. It was a weird movie, but I liked it. I do like M. Night. I think he came on, which is not a bad thing, but he came on he started at the top with Sixth Sense. And, Unbreakable's right up there, Signs and all that. His twists were so epic that when he wrote a movie that the twist wasn't as epic, people were like, oh, this movie sucked. And it was like, no, it didn't. It was a really good movie with kind of a cool twist, but it wasn't as cool as Sixth Sense or Unbreakable, so you're mad. It's the Ghostbusters 2 complex. Because Ghostbusters 2 is an excellent movie, but it's about half as good as the original Ghostbusters, which is one of the greatest movies of all time. Look it up. It's a fact.
Yeah.
Science. People think that Ghostbusters 2 is bad. It's not. It's just not as good as the original, which just cannot hit. So I think they just compare his decent movies to his epic movies, and they're just like, oh, these are bad, when it's like, no, they're decent. Watch them. Find the story. I didn't watch the Airbender one, though, because I'm not into
that one was That will change your mind about whether or not he makes bad movies.
That wasn't one of his stories, though. He was taking another person's story and trying to make it his own, and he shouldn't do that. Stick with movies that, and well, I guess this was.
Oh,
kind
he
of a
did it
book.
here.
Yeah.
Although he took liberties.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but it wasn't epic. I mean, he tried to make a franchise out of a pretty popular. Is that an anime?
yeah.
I don't know if you can do anime live action.
In this film, I was ticked that there was no twist. I was waiting for it, and I didn't want the story to be what it ended up being. I'm like, nah, surely not. Like, that's not going to be the ending. And so then at the end, I'm leaving. I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, that's what you gave me?
Again,
Like,
that was the
I
twist.
thought it was great.
I didn't like it.
I had no problem with them not having a twist.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's fine. Maybe for me, it's tied, though, to the way some people portray the book of Revelation. You know how you always see those books, the end of the world's going to be this day, or there was a billboard in Indianapolis that said the end is going to be in such and such a date in 2011. And of course, it wasn't. But some company came up with an after the rapture daycare where they had people pay money to take care of their dogs after the end of the world, after the rapture, right? So you see people like predicting the end all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way that they come to those conclusions is like poor logic, I think, and looking at the Bible in a way that I don't think is helpful necessarily. For example, like I just got my certificate in biblical studies. I was trained specifically, they said, don't watch the news and then take what you see and then go try to interpret the Bible. So don't watch what's going on in modern politics and then go try to interpret the book of Revelation and figure out which political leader is the Antichrist and
Right.
which country is Babylon and things like that. Because that stuff in Revelation meant something to the audience it was written to. Sure, there's some stuff in there that hasn't happened yet, but like no one in 2,000 years has been able to predict this stuff. So we're trained to interpret based on the context of the Bible, not the context of CNN or Fox News, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I watch this movie, like they're watching the news and then trying to decide if the world's ending, and I'm like, oh no, like don't train people to think like this about the Bible, because then they'll start saying, oh, here comes the rapture, it's going to be on this day, and the president's the Antichrist. Because that I've heard someone say that each president during my entire life is the Antichrist.
100%.
Every president since George Bush has been the Antichrist.
I have a lot of friends who think, well, the Bible is either not real or Christianity's crazy. Not based on the Bible, really. It's based on
what other people say.
And so I'm just like begging other Christians not to do that. Like, there are really good studies on Revelation, and I'll plug one here. My professor was Michael Heiser. He died 2 weeks ago, so that was kind of hard. It was the week that I finished my certificate. But on the Naked Bible podcast, he has a huge series about Revelation and interpreting it. So if you really want to get into that stuff, that's the first place I would go. Don't go to the news. So anyways, I'm watching the movie. I'm like, please don't go in this direction. Please don't do it. And then he did.
See, the way I look at that is you're spoiling the movie. You're spoiling the end. I don't want to know the end. We know what happens in Revelations, but I don't want to have to prepare for it. I think I'm preparing for it now.
Yeah, what are you
trying
to do, right?
trying to live a decent life. So if I'm here when that happens, well then, so why do I need to worry about who is it, or how are they going to change things? Or no, just don't worry about it. Live your life. Be happy. Be nice. Be forgiving, and everything should be good.
That's like exactly what my professor said. Heiser said we should be living that way already. Like, you should be living like this week might be the last week, Live like it matters, or like your life counts, right? Don't wait until you think it's the end of the world and, okay, now I'm going to get it together.
Yeah.
See, we just solved the world's problems.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave Bautista.
I thought that M. Night was teaching people to interpret God through the news and also to celebrate blind faith. Like if God asks you to go jump off a cliff, then you should do it. And that we should be in awe of that faith. Maybe that faith is awe-inspiring, that it's that strong, but it's not rooted in anything. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be rooted in something or people will do bad things like terrorism, right? Not everybody, but like a very small minority will think God told me to do this, or here's one I've seen that's not as crazy, but it's still bad. Going to a person, this actually happened to me. Someone did this to me. Going to a person and saying, "Hey, God told me that you're going to marry me, so let's get married." Like, wait.
Was she good looking at least? Or that's the wrong thing to say. Anyway, that goes all the way down to Facebook when you're scrolling through Facebook and God will bless you if you say amen and pass this on to 12 people and share.
Yeah.
It's like, I think God will do that if I just keep scrolling too.
Yeah, I just want to say to my skeptical friends and skeptical people watching, there is a better way. There is a meteor faith. Not everything you see about people's interpretation of Revelation is correct. There are better ways to think about it, more biblically sound ways.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that. Do you guys recommend Knock at the Cabin?
Yes.
Sure. I don't know why I said sure, but yes. Sure sounds shaky. No, yes, 100%. It was a fun movie. It was a good movie, and I actually look forward to watching it again so I can look for maybe some other little signs in there and see if there is another deeper story somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, it is a story about what someone would do for their family. Don't go into it looking for religious themes as much. They're there, but like we said, I don't think any of us believe God would find 4 people and say, go to this house, make them kill each other, or you have to kill yourself. That would never happen. I don't think it would. So don't go into it looking for something spiritual by what they're doing. Look at the family and how, the love and how they come together and how one of them does eventually come to the faith. Look at the positives in that. He's just like, I believe now. And I know that doing this will let you live on and you'll have a happy life and I'll go on to a better place. And he was very calm about it. So look at the positives in that. It's a great movie.
Yep. And it's actually streaming now. So if you can't get to the theater, you can watch it from your house or your tablet or your phone.
Something I thought of we never really done before, but maybe we should kind of throw out. Look at a movie like this and it's like a horror movie or something like that. First off, it's very little blood, if any.
They don't really show a lot of it.
There's a few sounds of people dying, but yeah, you don't see a ton of, it's not like when they kill somebody, you see blood spurting everywhere. No, they put a bag on their head and you see them lying on the ground with a blood stain on the bag. So, you don't have to worry about gore. There was nothing scary about the movie.
No.
It's not a horror. It's a bit of a thriller, but it's not like you're sitting there scared. You're just kind of watching. Of course, we gave you all the spoilers, so.
There wasn't a whole lot of language in it. I mean, this is something I'd probably let my daughter watch. She's 10. She could watch it.
Very light for an R.
It was very light for an R. This could almost have just been a PG-13.
I think they did drop the F-bomb a few times, and that's what probably pushed it to an R.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, 100% recommend. Fun movie, deep, and yeah, can really bring up some good conversations.
Yeah, and Doug, I think what you said was spot on. This movie was inspired by some religious concepts and some religious ideas, but it is not an exploration of any particular religion or a modern religion. Like, it's not a exploration of the Christian God, even though there are some ideas from the Bible in there. Mm-hmm. So you can't look at it like it's even intended to be an accurate portrayal of God. It's more like a what if. That's the way you'd have to think about it. And like Doug said, you're better off focusing on the faith struggles of the people rather than their relationship with God or the love between the people, the compassion, empathizing with the couple and the family, empathizing with the horsemen, even. You're better off looking there than for concrete answers about what God is like in this film.
Yeah.
I struggled with this film, like I said, because of the approach to faith a little bit, just because of how I see people dealing with the book of Revelation. And I was like, no, don't encourage that. So this was a little hard for me. I wanted a scarier film, to be honest. My favorite M. Night film. It's going to sound crazy. I like Signs. It's probably Signs, but I really like The Village, which is the one people don't like.
I thought The Village was good.
I enjoyed The Village, really.
Yeah, and it's dark and creepy, and it's got a monster in it, And so I was really hoping for something a little spookier, and I didn't get it. That paired with the whole news thing, I was going to not recommend this film, just barely, because it's a good film. The characters are solid and developed well. It's well acted. You could really watch it as an exercise to try to understand and have sympathy for what gay people might experience and the kind of mistreatment they might go through. So I think that's positive. But like from the faith angle and from what I wanted out of an M. Night movie, I wanted a twist and I wanted something spookier. I just came out kind of neutral on this film. So,
and it'd be easy to do.
Yeah, this might be my first shrug or my first mild not recommend. I don't think it's a bad movie. It wasn't what I wanted,
Yeah.
But it's not a bad film, and there are good things about it. It is definitely in the upper half of M. Night's films. It is not in the bottom half. So there you go. That's my first not recommend on this whole series.
Well, I see what you're saying. I think, like I said, to call it a horror film, I think is a stretch. I think it's more of a suspense than anything. So when they say horror movie, you're expecting scares, and if you make it more of a suspense, then you kind of know what to go with. I see where you're coming from, but sometimes I think what can make a movie scary is just the fact that if you put yourself in the position of any one of those characters and not knowing what this outcome is going to be and knowing what they're facing, I think that in itself is a little terrifying.
Yeah. And the scenario is frightening.
Yeah, it's just like a different way, but I wouldn't call it a horror film either. I would have called it more of a suspense film than anything.
And the people drama was good. It was very, very good. I don't know. I can already think of things that might be worth a second watch for. But I was going to say, once you know what's going to happen, I don't know that this movie has as much replay value as some of the other films.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It's not a movie that you're bored on a Saturday afternoon, so I'm going to toss in a Knock at the Cabin in the Woods. Knock at the Cabin.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
At the end of the road.
Cabin in the Woods, yes. I would watch that on a Saturday afternoon. But no, Knock at the Cabin, no. But I want to watch it because now I'm curious, what did I miss? Mm-hmm. Because I was watching this movie and I was kind of keeping an eye out, but I was looking more for themes so we could do this. Now I want to watch it so I can see, was there something that was portrayed at the beginning that foretold what was going to happen at the end? What were the grasshoppers? Did they have something to do with the colors? And did they portray the people that showed up? What were the people wearing? I can't remember. Yeah, I know Red was wearing red. I think he had a red flannel and red hair. And that's why I would watch it again. I wouldn't watch it to be entertained, although I was entertained. It's just one of those kind of darker movies where it's like,
The only thing that really baffled me, and Doug actually brought this up after we saw it, because I was thinking the exact same thing. When the flood comes in and they have here's video of this massive wave coming. Who shot the video and how did they get it? It was shot on a phone. So how did they get that to be able to air it? That's the only thing that bugged me so much. It's like, if somebody's on the beach holding their phone.
Hit send!
Why don't you run and then face the camera behind you?
Yeah. But who did he send it to then? And how did it get to the TV stations? This person got swept away into the ocean. It's gone. There ain't no way nobody's seeing that footage ever.
And again, they said that earthquake happened 3 hours earlier after that big tsunami back in early 2000s. I mean, we know that places, especially Oregon, as soon as that earthquake hit, there were cops driving up and down the coast saying, get off the beach, get off the beach. There are still people just hanging out.
That would be the one thing that made no sense to me.
M. Night spent so much time working on his non-twist that he forgot about that.
He completely forgot about that.
Well, thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Thank you all for listening. Hey, help us grow this channel. If you like this video or podcast, go to our YouTube page, follow Movies Are Spiritual, like this video, help us grow our channel so we can make more videos like this.
And comment if there's a movie you want us to do. We kind of keep up with newer movies, but I love doing older movies because that's what I grew up on. So, yeah, if there's a movie from any generation, as long as it's not too controversial or anything like that, no porn movies or whatever, recommend some movies and we'll check them out and see if we can break them down for you.
Yeah, please don't make me watch Human Centipede. I'm scared just from the trailer.
I will not watch that movie. That's on my will not watch list.
So recommend something cool, something maybe not
something
as
that has
popular,
deep
but
things to talk about.
Yeah, Birdemic.
All right, well, thank you all for listening. We will see you next time.
Later.
See ya.